Hey guys, so lately a lot of you have been asking me how I record my drum videos. So I'm basically going to take you through a step-by-step process of how I do this in the most efficient way. So obviously the first thing you want to do is pick a song, whether that's a song that you like or a song that you want to learn or both. In this case, I decided to choose a song called 7 Days by Sting. I really enjoyed listening to Vinny Colaiuta play this 5/4 groove, so I wanted to learn it. And it's slowly becoming one of my favorite songs. So the first thing that I like to do is listen to the YouTube video. There's an awesome setting that you can use to change the playback speed. And I've used that on almost every song that I've learned, and it's been a lifesaver so far. I also like to take little notes like this on this really tiny notebook. I should probably find a bigger piece of paper. So after I listen to the song at a slower speed and take all my notes, I'll go to iTunes and download the song legally. In this case, like we all should be doing. So once I have the song and I feel like I'm ready to record, I'll go into Logic and start making the audio tracks, like this. So now I'm ready to create a new project in Logic. I'm going to start making new audio tracks based off of the mics that I'm using on my interface, which in this case is 3 through 8. So I'm going to go ahead and create these one by one. So once I've created these, I'm going to go ahead and label them. So after all these tracks are labeled, I'm going to go ahead and import the iTunes file of 7 Days. There it is. We're just going to drag and drop that into a new track. So obviously this doesn't have a count in, so we're going to create our own just using one of the overhead mics. While this is recording, I'll just go ahead and let the track play, and I'll clap along with it to make my own count in. So now that this is recorded, I'm going to have to make some adjustments so that the count in is in time with the music. See if this lines up. That's pretty close. So that is going to make it a lot easier for me to come in rather than just guessing. So now that we have that recorded, we know it's in time, I'm going to create one more audio track so that I can put this count in. So when I'm recording, I need to also make sure that these two things are off. Since we're not lining anything up with the metronome, these are just going to be a distraction. So now that we're ready to record, we're going to go ahead and turn on all of the record enable buttons. So once the audio tracks are set up, we're going to go ahead and set up our cameras and make sure they have a full battery and enough memory, because there's nothing worse than recording a perfect track and then going and check the camera and realizing that it's dead. And then I'll come over here, put in my in-ear monitors, and then hit the record button. So now that all of this is recorded, we can start editing. Basically, I'm using the presets from Logic. For the kick drum, I just go to drums and percussion, kick, and I use the inside kick. Depending on the song, I'll use different presets for the snare drum, but on this one, I think I'm going to use natural snare. I'll solo these tracks and make sure that they sound good with that preset, maybe adjust some of the reverb, EQ, etc. So on this particular song, I actually didn't use any toms, but what I'll usually do, I'll use the rock tom preset on both of these and just adjust the volume and the EQ as I go. So since there's nothing in these, I'll go ahead and mute them. We'll go ahead and solo the overhead track. The preset that I usually use for this one is just the natural overheads. I like the sound on that the best. We'll go ahead and go to the next one. Solo that track, same thing, the natural overheads. So now we have all the sounds that we want. We just need to get the right mix and the right balance. So we can go ahead and close all this out. We'll open up this mixer tab, and I'll usually kind of go one by one. I like to check the kick and the snare together, check the volumes and try to get it mixed just right. Once those sound good together, I'll check the overheads, which are usually too high. So once all that sounds good individually, I like to listen to the entire kit together. So now we know the kit sounds good individually, we're going to add the track. It's usually too loud from when we were actually recorded. You can see it's almost peaking. So I like to turn that down a little bit so that you can hear more of my drum sound. Also, as you can see down here, I went ahead and chopped off the rest of the tune so that we don't have all of that in there when we export this track. So now that we have all of our drums with the right sounds, with the right mix and balance, it's time to export it. We're going to go ahead and save it first, just in case. Then we're going to go to File, Share, and we'll save the song to iTunes. We'll go ahead and save it as that, 7 days. I like to have it on the highest quality, uncompressed. We'll go ahead and share that. There it is at the bottom. So that's that. So now we're going to go ahead and open up Final Cut. We'll go ahead and make a new project. So once we have that, we'll go ahead and put in our memory card here. Once your memory card is in, you're going to want to import the video, which would be this one right here. Import selected. While that's importing, I'm going to go ahead and find our audio track that we put into iTunes. So there it is. So now that our video is imported, we can go ahead and drag it into the project, right on top of the audio track. And right off the bat, you can see how much longer this video is. That's because I took several takes, right? So I'll go ahead and trim this down, drag it on over. So we've gone ahead and put in the other memory card for the other camera, and we'll go ahead and import that video as well. There it is right there. Import selected. We'll go ahead and same thing, we'll drag and drop this right on top of our GoPro video. Then I want to shorten these while we're here, because ultimately I want this to be as close to a minute as possible, right? So since these videos are going on Instagram, I like to make them a minute long so that they fit into the short video category. I found that I get a few more views on the shorter videos than the IGTV, but that may just be me. I also think that the 1 minute videos are great because you can learn more songs in a shorter period of time. And I'm a college student, so I don't really have time to transcribe the full version of every song that I do. You can go ahead and see here that the GoPro video is not really fitting the full screen. So what I like to do before we start cutting it up, I like to go down here and change it from fit to fill. It's going to crop your video just a little bit, but the cool thing is that it'll take up the entire screen. So once we've done that, I like to click on both videos and go to balance color. It's going to help it out just a little bit. Same thing with this video, I'll go to balance color. I'm going to go ahead and turn the volume down on both of these videos so that we don't have to do it later when it's spliced up. At this point, I'm going to go to the blade tool. I like to play it from the beginning, so I just hit spacebar. And I'll usually just cut the video every 4 bars or so. Boom, so there's 4 bars. You want to make sure that you're cutting in the same place though, so make sure and zoom in, make sure that you're really getting the cut in the same spot. So once I have that first cut, I'll play it from there. Another 4 bars will go by, and I'll hit spacebar and stop the video, and I'll cut it there, making sure it's at the same spot. Zoom out a little bit, play another 4 bars, and I'll cut it there. So now that we have all this spliced up with the blade tool, we're going to switch to the position tool. And basically all this does is we're going to be able to drag and drop these videos. I want to start this video with the close-up shot, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Now we can see we're starting with the 50mm Canon. The next shot should be a GoPro shot, which is down here. So now we can delete this one. So the GoPro shot shows up, and this should be a smooth transition right here. Let's see. There you go. I like to alternate every 4 bars between the Canon and the GoPro. So as you can see here, it's another GoPro. We need to switch that out. Now that it's switched out, we can delete that. And same thing all the way down, just making sure that you're really precise with the way that you position these videos. So now we have all of this spliced up and positioned correctly. We're going to go ahead and cut it at a minute, right? Now is the time where I usually add the transitions, which is over here actually. It's in the transition browser. I usually use the fade to color. I'll put that on the front. Down here, if you zoom in, you can see this little thing. That's going to help you fade in the audio. And I usually like to line that up right with the fade to color transition. And I'll add a fade on the end also. I like to fade out the audio with the video. So let's see how that goes. Awesome. Now we need to export the video, which is actually kind of important. You'll go up here to the right hand corner, share the project, and I usually go to master file. So usually the default settings on this, I think, are the Apple ProRes. Right off the bat, you can see that that is going to be a 4 MB video, which we don't want. So we're going to change the video codec to H.264. I don't know what that means, I just saw a YouTube video about it. So that changes it significantly to about 500 megabytes, which is much smaller. I usually like to export it. You can export it to your desktop if you have enough room, but I like to export it to my external hard drive. Click save, it's that simple. You can see the progress of the video right here. Once it's done, it should have a little notification that pops up right over here. The final step, once your video has been exported to your hard drive, is you'll need to get it to your iPhone somehow. I guess one way to do it is to plug in your iPhone in your computer, but the way that I do it is to use AirDrop. So I'll just double click, share, AirDrop. So there it is. Alright guys, so that's basically it. I hope that this answered most of your questions, and if not, just leave a comment below. And if you don't have a question, make sure that you leave a suggestion for the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe, and have a good day.